Perfect.
Williams, class of '01, is hosted by Jensen. Needs to be added. Lee Williams, class of '01.
Hold on. Mr.
No, it's Jensen.
Not really anymore. Thank you.
So we make sure. Well, I guess it's not.
What is next?
William Shelley or Julia. I'm not sure I can read that.
Forward. Mark. Breathe in. Arms. Forward.
Please rise for the presentation of colors and the national anthem, followed by the invocation.
Guard, halt, inboard, face, color guard, pose, colors, color guard, breathe in, arms,
Breathe in. Arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gained proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does the star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
outboard, face, forward, mark,
Our Father, As Aggies come together in all parts of the world, we pause to praise Thee for the many material and spiritual blessings of past years. We are humbly grateful for our Aggie heritage and the comradeship we enjoy. Strengthen this sense of our God-given love and friendship. May it spread to men and women of all schools, nations, and races, and bring people of this world into a new bond of friendship and peace. Fill with Thy presence the circle of our friendship that is broken by an absence in our roll call. May we have a relevant appreciation for the great examples and sacrifices given by those of us whom we honor by silver taps. Bless the inspiration of this occasion that we may be strong in body, key in mind, friendly in society, and religious at heart. Through Thy grace, we pray, amen.
Please be seated. Howdy. My name is Rob Way. I'm class of 73, and I'm the president of the Galveston County A&M Club and master of ceremony for tonight's Galveston muster. Before we begin the muster, I have a few announcements. First, I'd like to welcome the class of 73 for their 50th class year. Congratulations, guys. I bet you we never thought we'd make it. Also, I don't know if you noticed, there's a beautiful Texas A&M quilt out in the lobby. We are raffling the quilt for scholarship funds for the Galveston County A&M Club. We currently have 2 students at the main campus from Galveston County that are receiving funds from our scholarship. Buy more tickets. We'll get more students on the scholarship from Galveston County. We have a social coming up August 3rd at Abuelo's Mexican restaurant in League City, and that will be where we will call out the winning lottery ticket number winner for the quilt. After the ceremony tonight, there will be a reception hosted by the Galveston County Aggie Mom Club. So at this time, I'm pleased to introduce Colonel Michael Fossum, class of 80, Galveston campus COO, Vice President of Texas A&M University, and Superintendent of Texas A&M Maritime Academy. Mike, come on up.
Howdy. Welcome to the Galveston campus of Texas A&M University. For the Aggies, welcome home. For our visitors, we're honored to have you join us tonight for Texas A&M's most hallowed tradition, Aggie Muster, where we gather to remember those we've lost in the previous year. I'll never forget my first Aggie Muster as a freshman 46 years ago, just when I thought I had all this Aggie stuff figured out. I knew what muster was because as a member of the Corps, I had to memorize it. But I didn't really have a happy clue what was going on when I entered the Coliseum on the main campus where the big campus muster was held. In addition to the students filling the stands, I saw the families and friends, what I figured were families and friends gathering far down below on the floor. And some were talking and laughing, but some were crying and holding each other tightly. I realized I was witnessing something profound and really almost beyond comprehension as they started the roll and voices in the crowd answered here. I realized someday, hopefully many years in the future, my name would be in that somber roll call. In a very real way, the traditions of Texas A&M span from the howdy, when you first greet each other, to the here. The howdy is that friendly greeting that we all know, and here is the answer echoed by our family and loved ones when they answer in our memory after we're gone. So you're not an Aggie only during the short time you're a student. You're an Aggie for life, and even after your days are done, you're still an Aggie as long as your loved ones are there to answer for you. In ways, this is a celebration. I know some of you personally, this is the end of a journey of grieving that you've had over the last year. For all of us, there are times in life when the most precious gift you can give another human being is the gift of your simple presence. To the family of those we've lost, the Aggie family stands steadfastly by you and trusts that you feel our arms holding you close to our hearts. Thank you once again for being here this evening.
Thank you, Colonel Fossum. Today we are called here to celebrate the lives of Aggies that have passed and reflect upon time spent at Texas A&M, a tradition that is now celebrated in hundreds of locations worldwide. Landon Degner, class of 22, will recite Margaret Rutter's poem, Aggie Muster Day, and then Mackenzie Hudson, class of 23, will share the history of muster and how this tradition came to be.
We gather here to mark the day Aggies proudly stand, to honor those who've gone before to the promised land. Each name is called upon the roll, comrades answer here. Trumpets sound their sad goodbye to those we held so dear. All heads are bowed in silent pledge, never to forget, while rifles fire their last salute, echoes answer yet. To their memory will be true, we will take their place. One for all and all for one, ever in thy grace. We'll meet again another day, reunion while we pray, to ask thy blessing on each one on this muster day, Aggie Muster Day.
Aggies gathered together on June 26, 1883, to live over again their college days. The victories and defeats won and lost upon the drill field and in the classroom. By April 21, 1903, this annual gathering evolved into a celebration of Texas independence on San Jacinto Day. These early meetings included field games and banquets for Aggies to reflect and celebrate their memories of Aggieland. Let every alumni answer a roll call, wrote the former students. It was not until 1922, however, that April 21st became the official day of events for all Aggies. Thus, the annual tradition of muster was born. The March 1923 Texas Aggie urged, if there is an A&M man in 100 miles of you, you are expected to get together, eat a little, and live over the days you spent at the A&M College of Texas. Still remembering and honoring the time spent in Aggieland, the tradition of muster has grown in strength, meaning, and in spirit. By 1929, the meetings had spread worldwide, and in 1942, Aggie Muster gained international recognition. 25 men, led by General George Moore, class of 1908, mustered during the Japanese siege of the Philippine island of Corregidor. Knowing that muster might soon be called for them, these Aggies embodied the commitment, dedication, and friendship that is the essence of the Aggie Spirit. They risked their lives to honor their beliefs and values. That small group of Aggies on an outpost during World War II inspired what has developed into one of our greatest traditions. Muster is celebrated in more than 300 places worldwide, and the ceremony brings together more Aggies worldwide on one occasion than any other event. Muster is a time to look to the past, present, and future, not only to grieve, but to reflect and to celebrate the lives that connect us to one another. A gesture so simple in nature, yet so lasting in spirit. Muster is the lasting impression every Aggie leaves with us. It reminds us of the greatness that lies within these walls, of the loyalty we possess, of the connection that binds us, and of the idea that every Aggie has a place of importance, whether they are present in flesh or in spirit.
At this time, I would like to introduce the speaker for the evening. Chris Orth has 43 years' experience in global oil and gas marine industry. He's currently serving his third three-year term on the Mays Full-Time Graduate Business School Advisory Board. He's a former president of the Houston branch of the Propeller Club of the United States. He holds a bachelor's degree in management from Texas A&M University, class of 1980. He's married to Marlene Orth, and they have a daughter, Evelyn, A&M class of 2016. His hobbies include fishing, hunting, golf, and an activity with his wife and daughter, and anything that can do with Texas A&M. I think I need to meet him for fishing. Let me introduce Chris Orth.
So I spoke here back in 2012, and I've got to tell on myself before I start my talk. I was sitting up here and, you know, feeling a pressure of these people are waiting to hear something really profound from me, and they introduce a person that is going to read this poem, class of 12. And I'm thinking to myself, man, this is an old guy. And this young student gets up, and I'm saying to myself, you only missed it by 100 years. And these people are waiting to hear you talk. Oh, this should go well. So anyway, I had to bring that up. I've worked a lot with students from A&M over the years, and every time I get with them, I love to ask about this ring. What makes this ring so important? And you get a whole lot of answers. Colonel Folsom and I spoke at a leadership conference about a month ago for sophomores and juniors up at the main campus. And one of the answers was a sophomore, he goes, it looks so cool. And I went, okay, that's a bonus, but that's not what I'm looking for. But inevitably, a student always says, Aggies hire other Aggies. And I always tell them, while that's true, a whole lot of people hire Aggies. Why? Well, they've either worked with Aggies, they've worked for Aggies, they've had Aggies work for them, they have family members that were Aggies. But Aggies have always left an impression. And I always tell them, I said, when people are hiring an Aggie, they're not hiring a body. They're trying to hire a difference maker. So I want to talk about tonight, so what differentiates an Aggie? Why in the business world are more Fortune 500 CEOs graduates of Texas A&M? No doubt a first-class education, of course, but I would argue that layered on top of that great education is leadership in a very specific type. Leadership through serving others. So let's discuss some of the facets of leadership. If you think about it, the key to good leadership is accomplishing tasks at hand while building relationships. Life is relationships with family, work, God, etc. Healthy families, healthy teams, healthy churches, healthy businesses, even healthy lives are about relationships. Great leaders are skilled at building great relationships. The key ingredient in successful relationship is trust. Ask yourself, how many people do you have a good relationship with that you don't trust? Trust is the glue. So how do we accomplish this at Texas A&M? Let's start with our core values. Excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service. These core values are behaviors, and behaviors are a choice. How many of these traits do we currently display in our lives? All of them to some degree. These values are often developed early in life and become habitual ways of behaving. Some of these behaviors become character traits, continue to evolve to higher levels, while others only change a little from adolescence. The challenge for a leader is to pick the traits that need the most work and challenge themselves to change those habits, change our character, change our nature. That requires a choice and a lot of effort. Leadership development and character development are one and the same. Leadership has little to do with style or personality and everything to do with your substance or character. So what is character? Character is that person you are in the dark when nobody's looking. Character is doing the right thing, winning those battles in your heart and mind between what you want to do and what you should do. Now, I have some great news. There are no born leaders. Leadership is a learned skill. Ask any psychologist. They can tell you your personality at age 5. At age 16, they can give you your IQ, but not your character. Hence the word maturity. Leadership starts with character. Leadership is character in action. Character is having the moral maturity to do the right thing, even if it costs you something. I'm not sure it can be an act of character unless it costs you something. Jim Collins wrote a book called Good to Great. He canvassed the country looking for not just the best-run companies, but those that had been at the top of their game for quite a while. He then took a deep dive into the lives of studying their leaders. What he expected to find were people that were larger than life, charismatic, ego-driven individuals. Instead, he found these leaders had two distinct qualities in common. Humility, others-focused, not about themselves. Number 2, a strong will to do the right thing for the people of their organization. Qualities of a great leader are humility, respect, self-control, honesty, commitment, determination, gratitude, communication skills, and the ability to listen. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Ken Blanchard wrote that in The 1-Minute Manager. Everyone is a potential leader because everyone has the opportunity to influence other people every day. Many of the great leaders are nowhere near the top of their organizations. Herb Kelleher, the colorful founder of Southwest Airlines, always said his most important leaders were his flight attendants because they were influencing thousands of people every day that he would never come in contact with. Great organizations are a group of all leaders where everyone is taking personal responsibility for the success of the team. A group of all leaders, each with different responsibilities. A place where everyone is engaged and fully committed. Sound familiar? Sound like a school you know? How do these descriptions align with what we know about our beloved Texas A&M? Whether a student came to A&M strictly for academic reasons, or maybe their parents or a brother or sister went to A&M. Maybe they just liked the football team. There are a whole host of reasons why they came, but if they attend A&M, they cannot help but be affected by this special A&M culture. It starts with fish camp. Incoming students attend a 4-day retreat where they are taught the history of A&M, the traditions, the yells, even how to say howdy. My daughter was both a counselor and a co-chair for fish camp. Her year as co-chair, they had over 1,800 applications from current students with the desire to be counselors. Leaders, every one. What a great introduction to these incoming Aggies for a very special next 4 to 5 year experience. Next, midnight yell practice in the 12th man. Midnight yell, where students and former students alike show up at midnight before the game, either at Kyle Field or a designated location in the opposing team's city. Midnight Yell, a time for Aggies, led by yell leaders, to congregate in mass and practice the yells while demonstrating their commitment to our players who will be stepping out on the football field the next day. Then on game day, the 12th man stands the entire game, only taking a seat at halftime, no matter the sweltering heat at day games in September or the cold, rainy, miserable games during the winter months. Every game a clear demonstration by the students of an unwavering commitment to each other, allegiance, camaraderie, and teamwork. Essential skills in honing one's ability to lead. Now we come to Silver Taps, one of the greatest and most moving traditions ever. Silver Taps is held on the first Tuesday of the month following a student's death. The names, class, and major of the fallen Aggies are on cards placed at the base of the flagpole in the academic plaza and on the Silver Taps Memorial. Throughout the day, students can write letters to the families of the fallen Aggies. That night at 10:15, all the lights on campus are extinguished. Hymns are played on the Britain Tower, including How Great Thou Art, and finishing with Amazing Grace. Around this time, students gather silently in the academic plaza. The families of the fallen Aggies are led into the plaza. At 10:30 p.m., the Ross Volunteer Company marches into the academic plaza in a very slow cadence. Once they arrive, they fire a 3-volley salute in honor of the fallen Aggies. After the last round is fired, atop the academic building, buglers begin to play a special rendition of taps called Silver Taps, which is unique to Texas A&M. The buglers play taps 3 times, once to the north, once to the south, and once to the west, but never to the east, because it is said the sun will never rise on that fallen Aggie again. Again, with no one saying a word, the students disperse. Simple, very moving. This solemn tradition was held for the first time in 1898. No other university in the world honors students in this way. What a message to the family. I can only imagine the thought these families are left with upon the completion of Silver Taps. My child was at the right place at this point in their life, attending the right school and with the right people here at Texas A&M. Every student that showed up, every student that participated, make no mistake, a leader. What an incredible tradition. Bonfire. This is one I really miss, and I'm not going to lie, still difficult to discuss. The Fightin' Texas Aggie bonfire symbolized our burning desire to beat the University of Texas in football. To watch all these students working around the clock for weeks and building this giant bonfire, taking all these giant logs and stacking them around a center post to ultimately be lit the night before the A&M UT game. In my family of 5 boys, 3 of us went to A&M, 2 to University of Texas. But we all drove to College Station, pulled the wagons out of the cars, and pulled all our children over to watch the lighting of the bonfire with the other 70,000 Aggies and their families. Bonfire became the symbol of the deep and unique camaraderie that is our Aggie Spirit. It's strange with certain events in our lives. We always remember where we were. For me, when John F. Kennedy was assassinated, or Elvis died. It was also on my way to work at 7:15 in the morning on November 18th, 1999, when I heard on the news the A&M bonfire had collapsed. At 2:42 a.m., the partially completed bonfire, standing 40 feet tall and consisting of over 5,000 logs, had collapsed during the construction. I had to pull my car over to the side of the road and take a breath in an attempt to regain my composure. I was in tears. As word spread across campus, the entire Aggie football team and several members of the Corps of Cadets rushed to the site to assist rescue workers with the manual removal of the logs. The rescue operations were slowed by the decision to remove many of the logs manually, for fear that using heavy equipment would result in further collapses and further injuries to those still trapped. One student, severely injured and pinned in logs, continued to point out to the rescuers where other students were trapped until he died. Of the 58 students and former students working on the stack, 12 were killed, 27 were injured. Easily the lowest point of my 47 years as an Aggie. But even at this moment, I saw the strength of the Aggie nation rally around the students that were killed and their families. I personally attended 3 of the memorial services. I was so moved by the hundreds, if not thousands, of Aggies that showed up to each. I brought my daughter Evelyn, who had just turned 6, to all 3. I wanted her to see what doing the right thing looked like, and wanted her to see that this is what Aggies do. I will never forget the absolute heartache I felt for these families. But I will also never forget the feeling of honor and pride to be part of this incredible Aggie family that so mourned the losses of our own, yet stepped up in such a way to comfort these same families of those we lost and those that were injured. Looking back, I would say this was my moment of clarity. How privileged I was to be an Aggie. I had witnessed firsthand leadership through serving others in its purest form. 5 years later, the bonfire memorial was dedicated on this exact location of the fallen bonfire. This bonfire memorial embodies the many layers of meaning associated with the Aggie Spirit. A deep sense of belonging, a strong spirit of teamwork and leadership, and an enduring sense of tradition that unites us as Aggies. One final note. John Comstock was the last living person to be removed from that stack. He spent months in the hospital following the amputation of his left leg and partial paralysis of his right side. When interviewed, he was asked if there was one thing he would like to do after leaving the hospital. His reply, light the next bonfire. John Comstock returned to A&M in 2001 to finish his degree. The next and newest tradition, most people might not think of, is the big event. Since its introduction in 1982, the big event has become the largest one-day student-run service project in the nation. Each spring, tens of thousands of Aggies, tens of thousands of Texas A&M students come together to say thank you to their surrounding communities. For the past 37 years, Aggie students have participated in this annual event to show their appreciation in Bryan College Station and here in Galveston, completing service projects such as yard work, window washing, painting, planting trees for the residents of the communities. Through service-oriented activities, the big event promotes campus and community unity as students come together for one day to express their gratitude for the support from the surrounding community. In 2023, 14,983 students from A&M volunteered, 500 from the campus here in Galveston. 1,932 residents were served. There are now 130 big events across the country and have been 1,144,872 total service hours since 1982. What an impact. What a life lesson for these students, and what an exercise in leadership through serving others. Remember where it started, Texas A&M. And the last but not the least tradition, Aggie Muster. Muster is, of course, a tradition totally unique to A&M that embodies and perpetuates the Aggie Spirit. Muster engages thousands of Aggies around the world to honor and celebrate the Aggie family, past, present, and future. As the quote goes, and was said earlier, if there is an A&M man in 100 miles of you, you're expected to get together, eat a little, and live over the days spent at A&M College of Texas. No other group of people come together in this way. While this is the true essence of Muster, I also view Muster as a personal opportunity to reconfirm my commitment to strive to be a person that lives my life trying to lead by example, that gets elbow to elbow with those I lead in an effort to make this world just a little bit better than the way I found it. And that on April 21st, I can take comfort in the thought that I am not alone in this commitment, but to the contrary, I am one of many Aggies trying to do the same. Many schools have traditions, but none like our beloved Texas A&M. These traditions are but one of the pillars that make A&M special. Combine these traditions with the dedicated passion of teachers, coaches, and the administrators that understand the importance of not just focusing on the academics, the sports, or the college life, but infusing all three of these with Aggie core values that we hold so dear. And finally, a worldwide network of former students who, long after they graduate, exude those same qualities so many have come to admire. The Aggie culture is like no other, and as of today, I've yet to see it duplicated. I haven't even discussed the Corps of Cadets, both in College Station and here in Galveston. The 400-strong Fightin' Texas Aggie Band, the closest thing to perfection that will ever step on a football field. The wonderful Sea Aggie Band here on this campus. The Fish Drill Team, the Yell Leaders. The 1,100-plus student organizations with leadership opportunities in each. Hell, some of these organizations are looking for nothing but leaders. It's easy to see how and why leadership permeates the very fiber of both of these campuses. Aggies don't just happen. Texas A&M is a tried and true formula that continues to prove itself time and time again. And I continue to be so impressed with the unbelievable quality of the students in each and every graduating class. We continue to deliver difference makers and leaders that make this world a better place to live. So I started this talk about the Aggie ring and what makes it so special. What is its superpower? Truth be said, this Aggie ring has no superpower in and of itself. It is simply a symbol of what it means to be an Aggie. This ring and those that wear it have a long history of doing what's right when right was not the easy choice. It is special today because of all the Aggies that came before us, who not just did great things on a world stage, but made a difference in their local communities. Raised their children to be good people that understood the importance of sound family values and the uncompromised value of one's word. Aggies, who stepped up to help those in need and gave comfort to those who had fallen on tough and difficult times. Men and women who fought for this country, defending what they believed was right, and at times, unselfishly giving their own lives to protect those freedoms and beliefs for those they loved. The Aggie ring we wear, it's a gift. A gift well earned, but a gift nonetheless. My mother always said, with gifts come responsibilities. And for those of us that wear this ring today, we have an accountability to those Aggies that have paved the way before us, and a responsibility to hold ourselves to those very same standards for those Aggies to follow. There is a reason we have a 12-foot high, 6,000-pound replica of this ring on the main campus and a brand new, beautiful 8-foot bronze double ring monument out in the quad in the very middle of this campus. They weren't built because they look cool. They were built by the efforts and donations of Aggies as a reminder to all that step on this campus here at Pelican Island or in College Station that this ring stands for excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service to all. And that you can expect those same values in anyone you see wearing this ring. All we have to do is turn on the news and see all the crazy things going on today. It should leave no doubt this world needs Aggies. How honored we should be to wear this ring. And when you see it on your hand or someone else's, you should be able to say, this person didn't just graduate from college. This person's different. They graduated from Texas A&M. This Aggie difference is a difference maker, and for all the right reasons. Let Muster be a reminder for all of us that every Aggie here is part of a very, very special family. A group of people with a very special bond. One based on sound core values, a determined work ethic, humility, and a desire to lead others in an effort to make this world a better place. God bless Texas A&M, and may God bless and be with every Aggie in this room and around the world wearing this ring. This world is a better place because of it. Gig 'em. God bless you all. Thank you.
Chris, thank you for accepting our invitation to speak at the Galveston County Muster. As a token of appreciation, we'd like to present you with a gift to remember your time with us tonight.
Thank you very much.
They hid it
I
from me.
love it. I love it. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. My pleasure.
Now please stand and join the Sea Aggie Band in the Spirit of Aggie Land, which will be followed by the reading of The Last Court Trip by Cosmo Kinsey, class of 23.
It was Judgment Day in Aggie land, and tenseness filled the air. All knew there was a trip at hand, but not a soul knew where. Assembled on the drill field was the world-renowned 12th man, the entire fighting Aggie team, and the famous Aggie band. And out in front with royal guard, the reviewing party stood. St. Peter and his angel staff were choosing bad from good. First he surveyed the Aggie team, and in terms of an angel swore, "By Jove, I do believe I've seen this gallant group before. I've seen them since way back when, and they've always had the grit. I've seen them lose, and I've seen them win, but I've never seen them quit. No need for us to tarry here, deciding upon their fates. 'Tis clear as the halo on my head that they've opened heaven's gates." And when the 12th man heard this, they let out a mighty yell that echoed clear to heaven and shook the gates of hell. "And what group is this upon the side?" St. Peter asked his aide, "that swelled as if to burst with pride when we our judgment made?" "Why, sir, that's the cadet corps that's known both far and wide for backing up their fighting team, whether they've won, lost, or tied." "Well then," said St. Peter, "it is very plain to me that within the realms of heaven they shall spend eternity. And have the Texas Aggie band at once commence to play, for their fates too we must decide upon this crucial day." And the drum major, so hearing, slowly raised his hand and said, "Boys, let's play the Spirit for the last time in Aggie land." And 10,000 Aggie voices sang the song they hold so dear. And when the band had finished, St. Peter wiped his eyes and said, "It's not so hard to see that they're meant for paradise." And the colonel of the cadet corps said, as he stiffly took his stand, "It's just another corps trip, boys. We'll march in behind the band."
And now it's time for the most hallowed part of muster. Roll call. Julia Rimini, 24, will read roll call for the absent. And James Atterbury, class of 12, will call the roll of our departed comrades. Following the roll call ceremony, Noah Gomez, class of 23, will read the poem Silver Taps, and Kiera Carrasco, 24, will read In Memoriam.
In many lands and climes this April day, proud sons of Texas A&M unite. Our loyalty to country, school we pray, and seal our pact with bond of common might. We live again those happy days of yore on campus, field, and classroom dorm at drill. Fond memories bring us sigh, but nothing more. Now we are men, and life's a greater thrill. On Corriger 83 years ago today, a band of gallant Aggies led by Moore held simple rights which led us to doth all to say, the spirit shall prevail through cannon roar. Before we part and go upon our way, we pause to honor those we knew so well. The old familiar faces we miss so much today left cherished recollections that time cannot dispel. Softly call the muster, let comrade answer hear. Their spirits hover round us as if to bring us cheer. Mark them present in our hearts. We'll meet some other day. There is no death but life eternal for our old friends such as they.
Will the candlelighters please come forward? Mr. Milton H. Abelo, class of 47. Here. Mr. Percy Beecher Botting, Jr., class of 48. Here. Mr. Joseph Arthur Wilhelm, Sr., class of 51. Mr. Marvin N. Swink, class of 54. Dr. J. Roy Rowland, class of 59. Here. Mr. Kenneth Wayne Powell, class of 62. Mr. Eugene J. Nitch, class of 63. Here. Dr. Colbert W. Thrahan, class of 63. Mr. Thomas Eugene Cook III, class of 64. Mr. Charles Norman Way, class of 65. Here. Mr. Joseph Von Huntington, class of 65. Mr. Philip Randolph Flowers, class of 67. Here. Mr. Neil Joseph Broussard, Jr., class of 68. Mr. Herman Thomas Taups, class of 71. Dr. James Albert West, class of 71. Here. Dr. Robert Cooper, class of 72. Here. Mr. Fred Harley Huddleston, class of 72. Here. Captain Michael Gilpin Miller, Sr., class of 74. Mrs. Linda Ann Schneider Reed, class of 80. Mr. Robert Jerome Janik, class of 80. Here. Mr. Bobby Alexander, class of 82. Dr. Robert Askew Reeder, class of 83. Here. Mrs. Janet Doggett, class of 88. Here. Mr. Gerald Jeff George, class of 90. Here. Mrs. Sonia K. Rodden, class of 90.
Here.
Mr. Jeffrey Philip Valentine, class of 91. Mr. William Roy Stevens, class of 92. Mr. Randall David Garlington, class of 92. Here. Mr. Richard Butson, class of 92. Here. Mr. Eric Gallen Anthematin, class of 2000. Here. Mr. Lee Williams, class of 01. Here. Miss Christy Lynn Farmer, class of 02. Here. Mr. Christopher John Sawford, class of '03. Mr. Caleb Lau, class of '23. Here. Mr. Corey Eugene Willis, class of '23. Here. Mr. Emilio Fernando Reyes, class of '25. Here. Dr. Rudy Martinez, class or Aggie faculty. Captain Sean McNeese, Aggie faculty. Here. Mr. Robert Salazar, class of '97. Here.
You hear about the Aggie Band and the spirit of Aggie land, but few have heard the farewell hymn of silver taps at A&M. All day the flag flies at half-mast, assigned to us of a solemn task, to bid farewell to one who's gone, with silver taps he's not alone. The night is dark and very still, where sully sounds the area fills, with a silent crowd of those who care, their hearts all joined in silent prayer. The Ross Volunteers, the Honor Guard, speak for us all as their guns discharge. 21 guns now blast the air and fade away in the darkness there. Then taps blow, loud from the tower near, and twice again, so faint, so clear. Like rustling wings of a soul in flight, silver taps fades in the night. You stand spellbound, you scarcely breathe. With heavy heart, you turn to leave. Your Aggie friend no more you'll see, till silver taps is blown for thee. Silver taps at A&M will always be our farewell hymn. To those who've gone to heights unknown, with silver taps he journeys on.
We stood a little taller and a little prouder then, when we heard the call of muster and the roll call just begin. We stood there all together and wiped away the tears when our names were called out softly and answered with a hear. And so we've joined together with our brothers of the past to make our final resting place at Aggieland our last. We take a toast to our brotherhood wherever they may roam. For us, the trek is over. Aggieland, we're coming home.
Before we close the program tonight, I'd like to extend a gratitude of thanks to our Galveston County Muster Chair, Shelley Fordyce, also the Galveston County Aggie Mothers Club, and also all the Galveston students who were kind enough to take their time and join us and be part of the program. The 2023 Aggie Muster in Galveston County is completed. I charge each of you to remain firm in your loyalty for your country and to your God, and to keep warm in your hearts your affection for each other and for Texas A&M. The muster is dismissed until April 21st, 2024. May God be with us all until we meet again. Aggie, y'all leaders.
I said it. I was like, I don't think you were even. He had to do it for one first.